everyone. Welcome you all to this ManageEngine OpManager Plus free training series, season 3. So my name is Abdul. I've been working with the ManageEngine item solutions at a product specialist, handling support, implementation, and product training for customers across Australia, New Zealand, and APAC regions, and will be the presenter for today's session. So our schedule is spread across 5 weeks, and we are in the final week of our training session. So in the previous sessions, we would have covered the details about basic network monitoring management and advanced IT operations management. In today's session, it's going to be a detailed discussion related to application and user experience monitoring, with which we will be covering the full stack observability using OpManager Plus. Further, we have a team of panelists here to help you out with your queries. In case if you have any questions in between this session, feel free to post them in the chat. Our panelists would happy to help you with this. Let's dive into our topic of the day, application and user experience monitoring. Let's jump into a quick agenda quickly. So we are going to cover a total of 5 parts in this session. From the start, we will discuss how we are going to bridge the gap between the two major IT operations, with the help of the application operation team and the network operation team. Then we will understand the detailed visibility across every layer of your network as well as your application infrastructure. Further, we will look into how we can gain some in-depth application performance monitoring using OpManager Plus and add into it not only from the infrastructure and the application layer, but what about the digital experience of our end users? So how we are going to address the digital experience track in the current IT scenario, and how we can accelerate solutions using incidents and automations with the help of OpManager Plus. So I believe in the previous sessions, you would have already understood how the infrastructure layer has been tracked and utilized with the help of OpManager Plus, including the network devices, physical servers, routers, network configurations, and firewall. So the complete network area is already covered, but still there is a huge landscape that is untouched and which is very crucial for any business organization. And that is going to be the application performance. So we will be discussing in detail how we are going to bridge the gap between these two layers with the help of Manager Plus. So here, let's have a quick scenario by taking a trading application as an example. So most of us would have engaged in online trading, and everyone would have been experienced with a trading application where we look all our stocks, and trading options, right? So now, let's say one fine day in the morning, we are facing some heavy slowness during the peak hours of the transaction. So it will be a happy morning for us? Not at all. Similarly, a lot of slow transaction that takes place across your trading application are definitely going to be time consuming and financially break down. So as I mentioned about the trading application, if I take the same application as an example, so what are the pain areas over here? When a critical application like this fails or doesn't function properly, so here we can find the pain areas and how we can overcome in our regular IT organization with the same type of concepts. So it's going to be network jitter and the micro outages and how they are affecting the specific transaction within your trading platform. So when you want to troubleshoot the problem, so you approach the network team, and the network team gonna pinpoint it's a problem in the application level. So you going to check the same with your application team, and they're gonna pinpoint it's something wrong with the network layer. But how do we get source here? Get the specified source here, and how do we get the pain areas? So and how we are going to resolve this? So these are all some pain points at the same time. Not only being the front end user, but we also a lack of have the lack of visibility across all the background transactions, right? So what are all happening in the background is something very crucial, and we may not have the visibility. So as I said earlier, it's going to be a trading application or let it be an e-commerce site. It involves investments, right? It involves money where the financial risks are there due to delayed transaction and potential loss in high stakes trading scenarios. So even on your e-commerce purchases as well. So how we are going to get this addressed? So with the help of a network aware application performance monitoring, or we can say it has a application aware network performance monitoring as vice versa. So how does it work with OpManager Plus? Within OpManager Plus, we do have a module which allows you to track the detailed components of your application layer under the displayed modules. So where you can see the application monitoring as a part that can be enabled and utilized on your OpManager Plus. So this application monitoring take care of the unvisited landscape or untouched landscape. So which is huge and crucial for all business environments nowadays. So if you look into the operations team, they will focus only on the infrastructure layer, but this infrastructure is predominantly dependent on the application segment as well. So how we are going to identify this? So there are scenarios that we need to focus on. So this includes the visibility across different stacks within your IT organization, starting from your network discovery, the infrastructure discovery, and the other components like different services, applications that are with the help of interconnected database services, middleware, which are running as middleware portion between your application and the end users, and then the actual problem as well. So if you look into the recent days, it's not only on on-prem data center, but it is also the hybrid data center. So we have a fully hybrid mechanism nowadays where you have the on-prem servers in place and on-prem data centers in place. At the same time, you also have your ITI hybrid infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure in place. So you need to have a relationship between the on-prem data center and the cloud data center as well. So if you compare the on-prem and cloud, there are more similarities in terms of in terms of your network profiles as well. So you have your network monitoring on your on-prem. At the same time, your cloud offers a lot of network services as well. So there are different application hosted on cloud as well on on-prem. So here different providers are offering different services with you, like the DB operations on cloud. At the same time, it's available on on-prem. So we need to have a correlation across this hybrid infrastructure in terms of all segments within your IT organization. So collecting the information and correlating it alone, it's not gonna helpful. So we need to have some automation in place, right? So getting emails and alerts are old school way of getting notification. So current scenario nowadays opts for automation work. The work should be easily done rather than being done manually. So these are different scenarios that we need to keep in mind as a monitoring solution should offer. So these segments are available, all these segments are completely available in OpManager Plus as a built-in feature. So you get a complete visibility across your, complete IT stack where you can context and correlate. At the same time, you can perform automations as well. So what is the first step to do this? So it's going to be a discovery. Already, like the previous sessions in the network monitoring and the network management, they would have mentioned a lot about discovery. So how it works in Op Manager Plus using the IP range, using your subnets, using your Active Directory, the usage of flow types, right? The JFlow, SFlow, NetFlow. In terms of NetFlow analyzers, and how we can track the firewall log analytics. So using our syslogs and config logs, how wireless LAN controllers are discovered with the help of SNMP, what are all the network devices we support, and how the ports are mapped, and how the routers are monitored. So in our today's session, we are going to understand much deeper about how we are going to track the applications, the middlewares, the containerized environment, cloud instances, and the applications running top of all the segments will be discovered. So when we speak about the infrastructure layer, the network component is going to be a parallel in along with the database as a cloud components. So here, once we have this, once the discovery has been done, you get a complete layered view starting from your application layer and drilling down to the data link layer as well. So for example, let's say so you have an application as a priority on top, and these applications will be running on the on-prem servers, or they can be hosted on your cloud instances, even on containers nowadays. So these operating system platforms have interconnections with the different network devices, right? So it can be a virtualized environment connected to different networks, such which has a router, and finally the secure gateway, the firewall, which is going to be the gateway to secure your entire IT organization. So this is a general map view how the discovery works and how the components which are discovered within your OpManager Plus assemble. Further, auto discovery in application monitoring of your OpManager Plus. So we do auto discover the applications in your complete IT infrastructure. So when we do a discovery through the IP range or through a CIDR range, so we will be discovering the actual platform, the different database services, and different application servers that all are interconnected with each other, and the dependency will get created. So with the help of this dependency, you will able to easily pinpoint which layer has the problem. So in terms of the infrastructure, so it can be either on your database segment, it can be either on your platform, the containers, or the operating system as well. So it can be on your cloud instances along with that. So whatever the microservices that has been associated, so the problem can be anywhere. So at the same time, the application servers which are connected to the each element can be also identified. As we are talking about the discovery and dependency, so how does the automatic discovery and dependency mapping help an IT operation team or a application team? So basically, it helps you to visualize the application through device relationships. So it helps you to visualize the application dependency flow, and we will able to achieve continuous discovery with the help of scheduled discoveries as well. So we can schedule the discovery, and you can keep your inventory updated. So over a period of time, it can be helpful for the scheduled discovery as well, and it also helps you to leverage the variety of auto discovery methods as I mentioned previously. So through the IP range, CIDR range, VMware, or vCenter based discovery, all that can be done in the using a Op Manager Plus in a single console. So using this dependencies with this dependency map and discovery mechanism helps you to easily understand, before moving our application, getting into any unwanted outages. So what are all the benefits of discovery and dependency mapping? So it helps you to gain full visibility by obtaining a business view of all your application in physical, virtual, and cloud environments. So it helps you to obtain a greater efficiency and and improve your productivity rather than doing manual tasks. So with the help of automatic discovery and dependency mapping, you can have them managed in an automatic way. So these dependencies help you to decrease the mean time to repair by identifying the actual down applications, where we can easily identify whether it's on the infra layer, or it is on the cloud layer, or it is from the virtualized layer, or it is somewhere on the application segment as well. So this helps us to improve the performance by providing live stages of the device running and the maps which has been created with the help of dependency mapping. What is next? We discovered the complete components. So what are the components that are interconnected with each other? What are the microservices that are running top of your application? So we discovered everything into your inventory. So what is the next step? So the next role for the IT operations team is to look for is going to be understand with the complete flow. So let's say being a user, I will have access only to the front end. So through the user experience, I will be accessing my application or servers, like web portals, but I will never have the visibility across the background components. So what's happening, what exactly happening the back end of my application. So let it be a on-premise asset. As mentioned, it could be a cloud service as well. And microservices running on top of your containers using a different types of containers and environments. So we can able to identify, so with the help of this complete map flow, and what are all the features that is running on background of your complete flow. We will never know what are all the ongoing and the backend components that need to be identified, right? So, but with the help of this discovery and dependency mapping, we can understand the flow of impact, and we can isolate the problematic components using OpManager Plus. Achieve a granular visibility into every layer of your network and application infrastructure, and how we are going to get this achieved. So the infrastructure is kind of a huge infrastructure nowadays. As you can see, it is a mix and match of different vendors. So everyone is going to be a point player in the market, and everyone has their own OEM data which can be published. So you may have a question now. So when OEM offers the data to me, why do I need to invest in a solution like Op Manager Plus? So Op Manager Plus is going to be a one-stop solution that supports multiple vendors. So you do not need to use multiple tools for your monitoring and management. So for example, let's say you may have one services in AWS and one services in Azure, and you may have the container platforms as well. Now within a one-stop solution, you will be able to support all these different technologies, and you can understand the flow of impact. At the same time, the necessary precautions with the help of actions and forecasting reports that are already available within the same solution. So with the help of this one-stop solution, you reduce using multiple tools, you reduce multiple employees or engineers who are going to be provisioned for the specific OEM tools, and you will get a consolidated correlated view within a one-stop solution. We discuss, so within the infrastructure layer, database monitoring is very crucial for any organization that are going to focus in the application segment. So what makes the database monitoring very hard for us? The lack of visibility, the first thing, because when it's come to a database module, you will have a n number of database providers, different flavors of database servers, and n number of queries or databases hosted in it. It is very difficult to identify what are all the root cause of the issue. So because if I go and approach a DBA team, again they're going to be a blame game where they will focus on blaming the application development team. And if I go and check the development team again, so they are going to blame the DBI team, saying that queries are running very slow at the backend. So there are a lot of deadlocks on a particular server. So even the operations teams gets involved here. The DBA team says it's due to a server infrastructure problem, and sometimes in terms of databases, we have a crucial challenges on backups and recoveries as well. So backups may not work as expected in sometimes. So the restore doesn't work as expected sometimes. So during this period of time, let's say a solution performs an automation to do a proper backup and to do a recovery. That's kind of very helpful, right? So that is how Op Manager Plus can help you with these challenges. So when we speak about that database monitoring, how OpManager Plus helps you to achieve these concepts here. So like a few things we need to help. We need help on database monitoring are going to be first understanding how many database servers you need to monitor, because you may have production servers, so you may have non-production servers, staging servers, UAT, and so on. So we need to understand what are all the crucial database servers are required now. So further, we need to have an insight into your environment where they are located in. Because if you compare an on-prem SQL database with an Azure SQL database, the performance KPI is going to be different. So we need to have an insight in which environment these databases are placed or having the issues. So the database, the DB server, that needs your immediate attention. So how do we understand that database server is highly loaded with the help of buffer rate ratio, cache rate ratio, based on the memory usages and based on the long run queries and deadlocks. So this information is very crucial and very important to be monitored by a solution, and it can be achieved using the seamless tool with help of App Manager Plus. So we need to understand the dependence of the database server, because a single DB can speak to multiple applications. So these applications can transfer n number of database to a particular DB instance. So we need to understand the actual dependencies across your database and the connected applications as well. To gain visibility across your entire database, so we need to understand the response time and what causes the application to wait and what are all the wait types and events occurred. It can be a log wait time and it can be a session waits. So it can be block sessions and so on. So in the long run, the query performance are can able to block the complete sessions as well. So we need to understand the optimal way to execute the queries here. So until and unless we know the execution time or the average execution time on the database it's running, so we'll unable to isolate the problem or fine tune the query. So we need to identify the slow running queries first and we have to fix them up. So the database connection also here, we need to always check the DB servers are having the n number of connections, and we have the privilege to terminate those connections, which can fine tune your database and increase efficiency as well. So errors, when it comes to the errors, we need to prevent the downtime. So we need to have like a high availability, and tracking its availability is a mandatory thing. So we have to focus on identifying the errors on your database and the queries which is associated with those errors. The buffer pool usage is also one of the very key factor, because it helps with the help of the buffer rate ratios, cache ratios, and pool usages, we can easily fine tune our database servers within our environment. Here, we have to drill down to the root cause of the DB at the SQL level, at the instance level, and at the infrastructure level as well, and also the user sessions. So when we see about the SQL level, it's actually the SQL DB server. So within your SQL or your Oracle, there will be n number of instances or databases running, and these database servers will be hosted in a different platforms, right? So it can be a Windows, it can be a Linux, it can be a containerized or cloud infrastructures as well. And all of these databases, there will be live sessions, block sessions. So these are all the different areas that we need to drill down in order to achieve a detailed tracking of your database performance. So here, if you see, so to proactively monitor the database backups and recovery, OpManager Plus offers you some automations as well, like the SQL jobs. So where you can, execute some actions on your jobs. So based on the backup ages and backup paths, the files, so the location where it is placed, the errors and the status, you can, configure, automations as well. So we have the SQL jobs automated, and we have it's fine tuned at the earliest in order to prevent any type of outages in the database level. Further, leverage the trend analysis of plant capacity and upgrades. So this point denotes us collecting the data, alerting, or working on the monitoring part alone is not enough for an IT organization. So the business requires more predictions about how we are going to tackle the upcoming scenarios. So with the help of the machine learning based forecasting and capacity planning reports, we can track the performance of your database utilization. We can plan the capacity and resource upgrades without any hardships. And we can also get some customized reports generated for your database management. So we have covered database segments, and so we spoke about how the database can be hosted, and it can be hosted within your on-premise, or it can be on your cloud instances as well. So at the same time, when it's come to the cloud platform, we have to focus on our Kubernetes containers nowadays, because in the recent days the containerized environment is one of the widely used environments on top of your AWS, Azure, or even the virtual containers as well. So there are multiple containers are in the market. So with the help of OpManager Plus, we will be able to support multi-cloud architecture, so where we support your Amazon services, Microsoft services, Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud, OpenShift, Docker and Kubernetes containers. And so these are all the some supported major cloud players in OpManager Plus. And how we are going to monitor these cloud providers? Do we need an agent? Not at all. So we use REST API. So we uniquely connect to the each of the providers, and we will using APIs to collect the data from the cloud instances. So since we support multi-vendor concept here, you do not need to have multiple tools or multiple dashboards from your OEMs. So you can have everything consolidated and correlated in a single pane of glass with the help of OpManager Plus. How to go about this multi-cloud monitoring? So visualize application and infrastructure dependencies across your hybrid cloud infrastructure, and with the help of App Manager Plus, now you can understand the relationship between your resources via organizational map. So we need to identify the KPIs. So the KPIs between EC2 instance on your AWS and Azure virtual machine can be completely different. So we can identify different KPIs, have them published on the dashboard, track them seamlessly, and have a detailed visibility across your cloud infrastructure. At the same time, we have cloud spending as well. So you can track your complete cloud spending, and you can understand how resources are utilized across services. So in terms of cloud spending, with the in terms of cloud spending within Amazon as well as Azure, so we offer you the expenditures. So what is a cloud usage? How can we identify the services within your cloud consuming more of a usage? So the reason we move to a cloud in order to cut short the investments, right? So rather than spending on your machines and resources, we are going to pay only for the user services. And but what if the services are consuming high usages? So if with the help of OpManager Plus now, so we can drill down and we can remove, and we can have some alerting as well. So let it be your Azure or AWS. We'll be giving you the spend by services, spend by locations, and with which you can get timely alerts and notifications. So once it reaches any dedicated baselines. So now let me quickly show you a quick demo to understand the cloud infrastructure even more better. So before that, and you all know, so this is how the App Manager, plus console looks like. So here we have the complete business view that we talking about. So once after the inventory, once after we successfully, discovered all the segments. So this is how the business view look like. By hovering to this, we can able to understand. So what are all the specific devices that are associated in terms of App Manager in the network layer monitoring and firewall. So in parallelly, if we look into the business view of the app manager, which is the APM plugin, comes with the app manager. So here we can have the complete visibility over the application and what is the components and microservices that are associated within each other. And if we move on to the cloud services, so under the new monitor tab, we have the complete cloud services over here. So let's say we are going to discover Microsoft Azure. By clicking on the Microsoft Azure, there are going to be prerequisites. And yes, cloud monitoring is not going to use any agent, right? So we need to focus on these prerequisites that has to be completed. Basically, we are providing some privilege to the Op Manager Plus in order to fetch the data from your cloud vendors. So like after creating the specific IDs, we can click on the add monitor, add Microsoft Azure monitor. Before getting into that, as I mentioned, these are some major services that are supported right now in order to have a better experience by using the Azure services. So after getting into here, we can give the complete credentials like what is the account type and what exactly it's used for. So after giving every Azure account and what is the services that we need to discover, so the monitor will be added. So as we discussed on the cloud spending, I will show you what are the things in specific we provide for the cloud spending in Azure Monitor. So this cloud spending is also supported for Amazon AWS as well. So I will show you for Azure first. So if you get into the Microsoft Azure, so we have the billing section. So under the billing section, so we have the daily expenditure on the left side and the billing summary. So what is going to be the current billing cycle? What is the total cost till now? And the cost forecast is going to be this. And what is the previous billing cycle expenditure? If I scroll down even more, I can have a understanding on what are all the top 10 costs that is by the services that is costing for. So if I have a comparison, I can see the Azure database for PostgreSQL is comparatively cost high. when we try to compare with the other services. So let's say I want to control this cost. I don't want this specific services to be cost more than $400. In that specific time, we can configure alarms. So once this specific a service reaches the threshold of 400 like that, so we can receive a alert. So likewise, we can configure alarms for any of the services. And here we have seen for the top 10 cost for services. Here we can have the cost by resource groups as well, and along with by regions as well. What are all the regions, and what are the regions that is costing more? So based on that, we can optimize our cloud resources as well. So now let's move on to the next topic. So we have a good discussion about the database monitoring and how it impacts the cloud infrastructure. And the major topic for and one of the major topic that we are going to discuss right now is going to be the application monitoring, so an application performance monitoring, I would say. And we are going to see how you can gain some insights into the in-depth performance of your application. So let's take an application over here. So previously we discussed the trading application, right? But now let's take a e-commerce site. So everyone would have an opportunity to buy something. So we are already, sometimes we are expected to buy something for our special ones in a special occasion. So but the special occasion is going to be a special occasion for more people globally, right? So everyone would try to buy something on a particular special day. So let's say I'm trying to buy something for my loved ones through Amazon, and I am facing some issues at the time of checkout. It is going to be very impactful to me. Yes, definitely going to be emotionally impactful for me. At the same time, I have invested my money and time in it, and I will be very frustrated to proceed further with the specific e-commerce website. And I will go to the next specific website that is available nearby. So I will switch to a different website or different application in order to place the same order, and I will purchase it. Not only that, I will be giving some reviews that going to be impact the specific e-commerce site that given some bad performance for me. So similarly, like any application oriented platform, because in our day-to-day life we all are relying on applications and more. So we make regular banking transactions via applications. We are doing our regular online payments. We are ordering food. We are booking cabs, and everything we are going to do with the help of online applications. So when these applications are gets critical, it impacts the user, and not only the user, it actually impacts the business, losing the customer and losing the revenue as well. So what we need to do, we need to take precautions even before the end user reports the problem. So as a application owner, it's our duty to prevent this. So what if my DevOps team fixes it with ease, and how we are going to achieve that with the help of OpManager? So in OpManager, we offer you APM Insight feature, so which take care of your complete application performance in a detailed way, so where you can identify the code level impacts and how does this APM Insight works exactly. So APM Insight is going to be a agent based module, so which is applicable for your web applications built on different frameworks. So the application agent will be deployed on your application server, and with the help of bytecode instrumentation and security CTPS protocols, the agent collects the transactions and collect the transaction details of your application, and send it to the OpManager Plus for monitoring. So what are the transactions? So starting from accessing my application to the login, performing different operation inside my application, and checking out or logging out is considered to be different transactions. So each operation I do in my application is going to be a transaction, and how APM Insight can help me with the meaningful information that I need and what my organization needs. So there are five, to understand the API means even more better. So there are five golden metrics that you need to look for. So especially the data throughput of your application, the request that hits your application, what is the response time taken by your application, and is there any, behavior, normal behavior? Is there any deviation from the normal behavior? So it can be identified under the errors on error percentage achieved over a period of time. and what are all the exceptions that has been identified. So these are all the five primary metrics, I would say. So once you have the visibility across these areas, it is very easy for you to find your application promptly, fix any issues very promptly before the end users reports the problem. How does this helps us? So capturing the response time helps you to understand the load of your application, and APM Insight tells you if there are any bugs in the code. Are there any exceptions? So is there if there are any stat trace for those exceptions? So can be easily identified as well. And memory leak is one of the crucial parameter for an application to go flat. And database segment, because with the help of the database segment, your application is connected to a database, or it will have a middleware portal involved in it, and a lot of external calls and API calls involved as a part of your application transaction. So what do we offer in order to monitor all, in order to fetch all the data from your application and prevent those access? Here, we do offer a detailed top to bottom application monitoring. So with the help of the APM Insight module, you will be able to drill down to a detailed view of your application layer. Because as I said earlier, an application is built up for different segments: front end, back end, and database. So the back end API calls or background methods, different types of external calls are also available. So the one thing I would like to address here. So according to the Gartner, a developer spends around 22 hours a week in order to identify the specific problem in application. So what if my solution gives you the problem with the help of stack tracing and gives you a line of code identifying this is the pain area you need to focus on to fix a specific issue, and this need to be fixed with the help of the any application team. So basically it makes the work easier for the DevOps team rather than getting into a reactive approach. So we are focusing on the proactive approach, so with the help of APM Insight. This APM Insight is supported for multiple application frameworks, and it is an add-on feature which includes the support for Java, .NET, Node.js applications, PHP applications, Pythons, and Ruby Rails applications as well. So we deploy the agent on the application hosted server, and the agent does the work. It captures the data, captures all the live transactions, and send it to the OpManager Plus. So it offers you the detailed view in terms of dashboards as well. And further, we do have a service map feature that provides you a complete overview of the application infrastructure along with the connection to other dependent repositories as well. So the main purpose of a service map, as mentioned in this, in this slide, is to identify the status of the application and its related instances and monitor the key metric and health of the specific instance. And also we have application dashboard in applications manager. That provides a comprehensive view of application performance and user experience. So by combining the data from the APM Insight and the real user monitoring, so which is going to be a front end user experience monitoring available, which we are going to discuss afterwards. And this integration allows you for a unified summary of both backend and user level performance, helping IT teams monitor key metrics such as app score, user sessions, failed requests, slow transaction, and error reports as well. And additionally, the dashboard provides geographical insights to help you analyze performance trends across different regions. So by using this dashboard, you can quickly diagnose issues and optimize your applications to ensure a seamless user experience. Now, let me take you to the, rather than getting into this complete presentation for EPM Insight, so let me take you to the UI and walk you through how application performance works in terms of OpManager Plus. So when we try to onboard a application for APM Insight, so it's going to be a straightforward process. So previously we have the manual steps, so now we have the direct automated steps over here. So if you get into the APM Insight, so as I mentioned, these are all the supported platform. So let's say I'm going to onboard a Java application. I just clicking on a Java application. I'm going to choose the direct host and the OS. I'm going to choose a Windows, and what is the framework? I'm going to choose Apache Tomcat, and if I click on the next, it will show my details, and we can name it as application, whether it can be e-commerce or a banking application. So after naming the application and mentioning the default port, so the OpManager Plus can directly execute the command with the help of PowerShell to install the agent. So once the agent has been added, it will be available for monitoring. So under the APM tab, we can able to find the specific application. So this is how the dashboard completely look like once after we added the application for monitoring. We can sort out the data for the last 30 days. As I mentioned, this is something called the AppDex score. So based on the complete response time behaves for your end users, this AppDex score will be calculated. With the help of the AppDex score, we can understand the user tolerance, so whether the user is satisfied, whether his experience is getting tolerated, or with the user is getting frustrated. And the last 30 minutes, what is the average response time my application is taking, and how many requests that is getting hit by in my application, and what is the data upload that is getting in and going out, and what are all the exceptions, and in that exceptions, what are all the fatal and warning exceptions. So as an application owner, we may have hundreds and thousands of transactions, but it is not necessary to focus all the transactions in order to optimize the application. The transaction that we are going to focus is going to be the high level transaction. I mean the top transactions that is having the high response time. So if we look into this of the top 5 transaction by response time, so we can have the transactions that are having the high response time. For example, if I get into specific transaction, I can have the request details and the app text score for this specific transaction. And we have the top 5 traces. So if any transaction that is getting delayed more than 3 seconds, the traces will be captured. And let me come into these traces. Before that, if you scroll down even more, we can have the response time broken by the components and the app server components split up. So by hovering to this, we can see the contribution of the application code. So here for this transaction to be performed, and the application code is taking place in order to complete this specific transaction. And what is the request throughput? By hovering to the specific drill at the specific time frame, we can able to identify the throughput RPM and the data throughput over here, and what is the split up by exceptions and the split up by errors. These complete details helps to have a visibility over our application performance. And if I, as I mentioned, if I want to drill down into the specific trace, click on the specific trace. Here I can see the complete suspected slow metrics. So these are all the method calls that is taking more time in order to make that specific transaction to have the high response time. So by sharing this specific detail with our application team, we can able to optimize our application for better performance to the users. And in order to complete this specific transaction, it is taking 3 method calls and 1 SQL statement to be initiated. So if I click on the SQL statement, I can see this is the specific query that helps to execute this, transaction. And if there are any external remote calls available, we can able to understand the remote calls and what is the, protocol that is used to execute the specific remote call. If any other transaction that is available, we can see that specific transactions and what is the response time, CPU time, memory used in order to complete this specific transaction. And apart from the transaction to the traces, we can have the databases tab as well. So with the help of the database tab, we can have the select, update, insert, and delete queries that is running on top of the specific application that we have hosted. So by having this specific database tab, we can leverage the usage by sorting out the complete average response time. So uh, if I look into this specific insert review query having some response time compared to the others, I can drill down into the specific DB query to understand the transaction. What is the transaction that is taken to utilize this query? And as it is if it is a Java application, we have the summary on the Java usage, JIT time, and the run memory time, and what is the classes that included and unloaded, and heap memory details. So everything can be available in the single dashboard as well. If there are any 404 error, 502 error, 500 error, 503 error that is available. So we can have that, and what is the count of that error specific happened in the last 12 hours, and what are all the exceptions that has been identified, and how many counts for that exceptions that been triggered for the specific users. So we can able to see that. And this is something called the service map that I mentioned earlier. So we can have the visibility over the instances that is associated with your application. So by directly hovering to the specific instance, we can have an understanding of the how much response time that is taking for that specific instance to connect with that with the application. And this is the rum analytics dashboard that I mentioned. So we are going to see the user experience monitoring in the next upcoming slides, and we can have the complete app tech score, response time, page views, geographical view, everything into a single dashboard over here. So now let me move on. So we discussed the application layer, and now we are going to step into the digital experience solution. So when we speak about the digital experience, it's going to be the front-end facing applications. The user may have been, maybe accessing the application on a web portal. So definitely through a website, right? So when they are accessing the website, they may came across different issues and scenarios. The website might not loaded, or the when the user trying to go from one page to another, it might be crashed. So like that, the login will not work. There might be putting some registration that may not work. So there are different scenarios, right? So registration failed, or the landing page failed, or if the login to that specific page doesn't work, so everything going to be frustrated in the front end level. So it goes to a request timeout as well. So these are all the different scenarios that we face as an end user. So when an end user is frustrated, it's going to impact the business, as I mentioned earlier. So with the help of OpManager Plus, as a IT operations team, we are going to take care of the network segment, the infrastructure segment, the database segment, your cloud segment, and even your application code segment. But let's say a user calls you up and reports you they cannot access the website. So it's a key area that we need to cover, right? So we need to have a visibility on our end users as well. So in order to do that, the first level of tracking digital experience is going to be the website monitoring. So what metrics we do prioritize here? So the availability of the website URL, the certificate expires of your when the certificate is going to expire for your website, and are there any content changes on your website? What is my page score? What is my page score? Whether it's my page score is very less, so we can have the complete visibility. So do I need to make any changes or any fine tuning, or does my application have any malicious attack? Some malware or any attack or any phishing attack that has been identified. So these are all some primary criteria that we need to keep in mind when it comes to a front end website monitoring. So what would be the cost of a website slowness? The first thing is going to be the load. So during a Black Friday a sale, your website might report a phone out for error. So some load of your website, the traffic, the users, it impacts the website. So it may be due to the actual application server performance, which can be identified with the APM insight, which is going to be a backend performance monitoring, right? And the server monitoring, which we discussed earlier. So it may be due to the server performance as well. So it can be some unwanted hacking attempts, like some suspicious attempts that have might been made on your website. How we are going to fix them at, and how we are going to handle them. So the website URL monitoring here helps you to understand the availability of your URL, and it helps you to track the health of your URL by different metrics. And adding to that, response time, connection time, DNS time, first byte, last byte, error rate, page size changes, and so on can be available with the help of this URL monitoring metric. So let's say I want to track a sequence of my URL transaction. So I will be able to do that using a basic URL. Yes, we do have for a URL sequence. So you log into a URL, you provide some information, you add a product to a checkout list, and you make a payment. You want to track this complete step-by-step sequence for a front-end basic level monitoring. Yes, you can use a URL sequence in order to achieve that. Apart from that, in terms of content changes, there are different contents, right? Elements, scripts, and images which can be defaced. So monitoring your website content helps you to check the website integrity and check the website tampering as well. From OpManager Plus, we have website content monitoring, which can be achieved with the application performance monitoring module. And adding to this, we will also be offering the SSL certificate for which domain from the URL certificates can be listed over here. You are adding a website monitor. You get to add your SSL certificates, the DNS, the web page, the brand reputation as well. So everything gets added along with it when you are adding your basic website URL for your monitoring. So this is going to be the first level. And what is much needed for the digital experience monitoring. So there are two components within OpManager Plus, the application monitoring, the real user monitoring, and the synthetic transaction monitoring, which is going to be in the application front end level. So real user monitoring is a complete live user experience pattern in the front end, whereas a synthetic transaction monitoring is a commonly known word in OpManager Plus. We use it as a real browser monitoring because most of the transactions are browser-based transactions will be capturing it. So the synthetic transaction monitoring is going to simulate the transactions that happens to your website. So real user monitoring is something that we collect data based on the user experience, user accessibility, whereas a synthetic transaction does not involve a user. So it can simulate a sequence of steps that is going to be performed on your website. So we know a flow of your transactions. So first thing I do, I load my website. The second thing is going to be I put my credentials. The third thing is going to be I surf my website. I'm going to navigate multiple tabs, going to a checkout page, do the payment and log out. So this is a simple transaction, right? So this is a known sequence and I'm a website owner. I have made a lot of enhancements in my web application and I'm going to publish it. So before publishing it, I want to test it test it for the last next 24 hours. So I will be sitting in front of system and will be doing the testing. So no. So whereas I will simulate the sequence and will leave it under the monitoring where it can be easily identify the problematic pages and transactions and what is the time across the pages and what is the geolocation across geolocations. I can do the simulation and get the insight. So whereas real user monitoring captures the live data, user actions, I don't need to simulate anything. I can just capture my real user transactions and I can get to know how my website are performing and how my users are performing in both scenarios. You'll be able to have the detailed view in terms of the digital experience monitoring. Let me quickly show that. First, let's start with the real user monitoring. And if I get into the real user monitoring and same like APM Insight, so the real user monitoring is going to be a add-on feature. So once after the agent deployment has been done and we injected the script in the front-end landing page of your application, the data collection will be started. So here also we do have the AppTech score. So this AppTech score can be calculated in the front-end level performance of it. So we have the geography, the column over here. So here we can have the complete geographic data. So by hovering to the specific region, we can understand how our application performs for our end users. For example, if I hover to India, their average response time is going to be 3281 milliseconds. If I hover to Russia, the average response time is going to be 1000 milliseconds. So we have the areas of improvement over here. So which is the India users are having the high response time. And what is the details that we can able to offer in order to optimize the specific uh, service. So internet services provider is going to be the complete data of the internet services provider. So we have the users might have used multiple services provided. We can able to identify and understand the average response time that is taking while using the specific internet services provider. And when it's come to the browser, we can have the complete comparison between the browsers. So how my application behaves for the end users when they are accessing using Chrome browser, Edge browser, Firefox, or Firefox iOS. So here we can have the quick data and the users using via Chrome having the high average response time. Same like browsers, we can have the device tab as well. So what are all the devices that are buying, end users are using, and what is the response time that is taking for my end users to have high response time. Same like the web pages, so we can have the front end level transaction monitoring, so not in depth level like APM Insight. So in the front end HTML and CSS level transaction monitoring, and how it what is that average response time that is taking for the specific transactions, and what is the user sessions that is available, and from what region they are accessing my application, and how many pages they were navigated. So those resources and the user session details are being available. And if there are any third party resources that has been associated as a microservice within your application, and if your users are trying to access the specific microservices as a third party application, so what how exactly the response time behaves for your end users using the third party resource, those specific details can also be available. And if there are any Ajax call, we can identify the Ajax call. If there are any JavaScript errors, those front-end level details can be identified with the help of our real user monitoring. Parallelly, if we look into the synthetic transaction monitoring, I mean, which is going to be the real browser monitoring in terms of OpManager Plus, so we can have the complete data. So let's say I have this specific mobile demo that's been added, and I can have the complete performance overview data. And so if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps I have performed from my mobile application. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these 5 transactions I have recorded, and I'm going to simulate from multiple regions. So doing this by doing this, we can have the complete visibility on response time, how it behaves the simulation from the multiple geography location. And this is how the real browser monitoring and the real user monitoring works in terms of digital experience. So apart from that, we do have general features as well. So now let's get into the general features, because we discussed that we started with the discovery, the components of your application, and later we discussed about the database performance, your cloud infrastructures, and we discussed on the APM Insight, which is the application core level monitoring, and later we discussed on the digital experience monitoring as well. So here, monitoring, now the complete monitoring part has been done. So observability has been covered. So, but what type of automations can I get from OpManager Plus? So you will be able to get automation with the workflow. So you can create your own workflow. You can have it automated on top of your OpManager Plus. So let's say there is going to be a critical severity in terms of your utilization, or there are going to be some cloud-based operation that has to be done. So you can very well perform it with the help of predefined operations like restarting your virtual machines or containers, performing some workflow, or to find your utilization, your resources and allocations that can be taken place. Furthermore, we have a business view dashboard that enables you to monitor the health and status of your various protection styles. So it helps in quickly identifying issues and dependencies in real time using color coded indicators. And also, you can get detailed reports to have a comprehensive view of interface availability, uptime, and performance metrics as well. And yes, so this is how the App Manager Plus helps you to gain full stack observability, starting from your network devices to infrastructure layer level, the database segment, application servers, cloud components, and how we are getting a consolidated view of all these applications deployed with the help of service mapping and organizational maps. And being a multi-vendor product support, it offers you a one-stop solution. It's going to be supporting all the metrics and KPIs in a single suite, covering all the full stack observability solution with help of App Manager Plus. So as I mentioned earlier, so this is going to reduce the employee investment who's going to access multiple tools, and it's going to reduce your investment on multiple tools as well. So App Manager Plus is going to be a full stack, monitoring,